Have you ever engaged in a serious debate over which is better, Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings? Have you ever played Smash or Pass using only characters from Star Wars and Marvel movies? If you answered yes to any of these questions, we have the podcast for you. Listen to The Steam Gentleman, the podcast where an expert panel convenes to ask the questions about pop culture and social commentary that other podcasts are afraid to ask. Listen to The Steam Gentleman on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Ladies and gentlemen, Wrestling Fans International Association is back. That's right, the premier fan club association of the 1970s and 1980s has been revived and is back in business. Join today. It's free at thewfia.org. That's thewfia.org. You can also join us on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/WFIA 1969. Welcome back, everybody, to Chronicles by Fleisch. This is 1998, everybody, and ECW is here in February of 1999. And we have just concluded the second block of our tour. So we are ready here to start a new tour. So what's that mean? That means we got some wrestlers in. We've got some wrestlers out. All right. Mass Superstar has filled his need for us. We are going to let Mass Superstar go. Okay. No problem. He's done what he needs to do for us. He has lost to Shane Douglas. And we're going to cut him loose. So he is gone. All right. Now, we have some new faces on our roster. We have signed Skull Von Crush, who is the future Vito LaGrasso here. He'd become a member of the Baldies in ECW. Now, ECW, everywhere else, Skull Von Crush was the K for the Crush, right? Everywhere else. In ECW, he had the C for the Crush. I'm leaving it with the K, all right? I've given him a foreign tear gimmick. We're going to go that route. Now, we have also signed Marty Genadi. He got released from WCW, and we picked him up. We're going to use him on the touring circuit. He's a good, steady hand to have. What we're setting up now is our big main event, which is going to be Taz and Shane Douglas. All right, so we're going to go all years, and we're going to put in Shane Douglas. And for some reason, Shane Douglas isn't showing, which is very odd. See what's going on here. Might be because the database has him in there as the franchise Shane Douglas. But you would figure to be able to watch that. Here we go. All right, so he is 5-6 against Shane Douglas. Okay, but this is going to be our next headliner here. Now, the only problem with this is that Taz just did losses for Rob Van Dam around the loop. All right, so he lost 8 times in a row. So even though on TV, Taz has always looked great, on house shows, Taz was just on a major losing streak. All right, so we can't set him up against Shane Douglas just yet. We have to get Taz some wins around the loop. And everybody, we're building this tour from scratch. This is probably going to end up being a long video, but I'm going to show you how I build these tours. Obviously, these venues don't apply. Don't pay any attention to that. All right, so we're building our tour, okay? We are going to have Shane Douglas defend the World Heavyweight title. All right, we are going to have Rob Van Dam defend the World Television title. Okay, and now we need a big draw for our third main event. So we know we can see who's most over here. And let's take a look at that. We haven't done one of these long, fun, drawn-out shows in a while. And this is going to be fun to do. So here we go. Here are our big draws right now. That's right. I forgot to mention, we brought in the Road Warriors. They got released from the WWF. So we have brought in the Road Warriors. Now we are going to use them. They are very expensive to use. So we're going to use them as a special attraction. All right, here's the answer to our problem here. Sabu is wildly popular right now. Sabu's been on a major win streak. All right, Sabu was just doing his thing around the loop with Terry Funk, I believe. Yeah, so Sabu and Terry Funk were brawling around the loop. And we can check all years. And let's put Terry Funk on there. This is a nice tool to use. All right, so there you go. So Sabu was wrestling Terry Funk around the loop in one way or another and was 6-5. All right, so this is kind of tired. We don't need this. Okay. So I'll tell you what. For the big main event here, and we do need a big main event. We know the Road Warriors are going to draw big. Okay, the Pit Bulls have dropped the title to Furnace and LaFon. We've pretty much put a pin in this feud. Furnace and LaFon cannot draw big as headliners. However, Furnace and LaFon versus Dreamer and Funk probably would. And if they don't, we can always fix it. So here's Dreamer and Funk versus Furnace and LaFon. Okay, now we go into the second week here. As you can tell with our previous booking, you want to change things up week to week so you're not running the exact same shows in every town you go to. Now, in real life, in the 1980s, you would, but the internet's around at this point, right? So you can't run the exact same card. Just how it goes. So we're going to change this up here, and we are going to have a tag match. So Shane Douglas is the World Heavyweight Champion, right? He's just had two touring stints in a row where he defeated legends to hold on to the title. So we have to find Shane Douglas a new opponent. That new opponent is going to be Jerry Lynn. These two should have excellent matches together. All right, so this brings us to our second part here. We want to change things up a little bit here. So we are going to have Van Dam and Sabu together in a tag match. We are not. You know what? We are not going to do that. And here's why. Sabu is going to headline one of our cards and take advantage of his massive popularity. We are going to have the Pit Bulls versus the Road Warriors in a main event. And we are going to have Shane Douglas versus Bam Bam Bigelow and Shane Douglas. And we are going to get Jerry Lynn a partner here. And we can actually use Well, let's take a look here. I'm thinking we're going to use Marty Genadi. Could have him tag with Sandman. Got a lot of options here on the babyface side of things. There are a lot of options. We could have Taz, but we don't want Taz to risk losing any matches. We'll have Jerry Lynn tag with the Sandman. Why not, right? Oh, that was an accident. All right, which sets us up for the previous time. We're going to have the Sandman versus Bam Bam Bigelow. See how we're building this up? All right, and who do we want for Rob Van Dam's opponent for that World Television title? Mike Awesome has red hot heat as a heel. I don't want the brakes put on him and have him losing to Rob Van Dam. All right? So, Joe Malenko should be over in the baby faces here. So we got that straightened out. All right. So who would be a really good heel opponent for Rob Van Dam that can take the losses and it won't hurt anything? That person is going to be Justin Credible. These two should be able to headline just fine. Okay, so there's another match. Now, we want another tag match. We are going to have the Pitbulls. We're going to do this another way. We are going to have the Eliminators versus the Pitbulls. That's right. We brought back Perry Saturn. WCW released him. That's an excellent tag team match right there. Now, we have Marty Genadi, who's a well-known name. We are going to have Marty Genadi versus Taz. That's a good guy to put Taz over. Now, we take a look at our tag teams again here. And the Dudley Boys are red hot right now. So we could put the Dudley Boys against the Chair Swinging Freaks. Or we could put the Dudley Boys against the Gangsters. Let's see what the latest was. Who were they with on the last tour? They were kind of a mixed bag here. So let's have them in there against the Chair Swinging Freaks. That's a good violent match in the style of ECW. So there we go with that. See how we're building this card out? See how things work? We're going to focus now on our first three shows, and then we're going to build off of that. And I'm going to show you how. I'm going to show you how. I'm going to show you why we're going to do it that way. Because we are going to end up reusing Sabu and people like that. That's just how it goes. So far, we've used Rob Van Dam, Taz, Terry Funk, Axel Balls Mahoney, Bam Bam Bigelow. Bam Bam Bigelow should be on the heel side. That's okay. It doesn't matter. We've used John Cronus. We've used Perry Saturn. We've used the Sandman. We've used Tommy Dreamer. We've used Sabu. We've used Marty Genadi. Okay. We've used Shane Douglas. We've used the Dudleys. We've used Furnace LaFon. We've used Justin Credible. So Lance Storm should be a baby face here. Here's Lance Storm, who we've not used. So we'll get this straightened out. Bam Bam Bigelow's been used. Lance Storm has not. The Pitbulls have been used. And that got Bobby Duncombe Jr. on both sides here. Bobby Duncombe Jr. It's more of a heel. So make that adjustment right here. All right, so let's go back and take the looks at the rest of our card. There's Jerry Lynn. Jerry Lynn's being used. See if anybody else on here. They are not. All right, so we're going to adjust ourselves from here. Tom Marquez and Chris Candido would work well together. It's a good way to get Chris Candido over with a fair opponent. So we're going to make this a match. So here is Prodigy versus Chris Candido. All right. Now, let's double down on tag matches here because we can. And we'll go back to our, I like the regular roster to figure this stuff out. All right, Lance Storm. Lance Storm could work a good program with Jack Victory. And we could use Jack Victory to build up Lance Storm. So we'll have Jack Victory versus Lance Storm. All right, now let's focus on plugging in those tag matches. All right, we have Danny Doring and Roadkill. And they should actually, they're on both opposite sides here. And that's okay. We'll put Danny Doring in here. They're kind of baby faces. They're kind of not. ECW didn't really worry about that too much. And I'm not too worried about it either. Okay, so we'll put Doring and Roadkill in there against the heel team of, see, we got Mikey Whipwreck and Tajiri on opposite sides. We'll have Doring and Roadkill against the BWO. What the heck? Okay, so we got that settled. Let's look for another tag match here. We have Whipwreck and Tajiri. I think that they were already feuding with the FBI, but what we can do, this is a good idea here. We can have the FBI versus Smothers, Tajiri, Whipwreck. All right, that's another good one there. So here is Tracy Smothers, Mikey Whipwreck, Tajiri. Now we have Hot Commodity that's available here. BWO, that's Supernova and the Blue Meanie. So we could have, what's the potential we have here? Tony Mamaluke. Right there used. Let's put Kid Cash. Let's put Stevie Richards against Mike Awesome. So it's a good one right here. Stevie Richards versus Mike Awesome. Need to put somebody in there against Masato Tanaka. Let's have Big Dick Dudley do the JOB for Masato Tanaka. All right. Let's use Skull Von Crush why don't we have Skull Von Crush is brand new. So why don't we use, and this was actually what they used on the cards. Let's have Skull Von Crush and Steve Corino. Steve Corino versus Skull Von Crush. Okay, so that's settled. We could probably do another tag match here if we want to. Let's do Kid Cash. No, let's do Hot Commodity against the Gangstas. All right, and now we fill in with the other wrestlers. So we could have Chris Chetty against Kid Cash. I like that one. All right, we can have we don't want Dunkham versus Doink. It doesn't make much sense. Joe Malenko's doing more road agent work for us and working with Chad Collier. Chad Collier's not ready to be on a tour yet. We can have Spike Dudley versus Super Crazy. Okay. And suppose we could do Jason Knight, Bobby Dunkham Jr. So let's drop the Prodigy and no. Jason Knight versus Bobby Dunkham Jr. Okay, so that completes 1 week of a show for us, which is good stuff. All right, so we now need an opponent for Sabu to main event, and we could use Doink the Clown. Doink the Clown is over. I'm not sure how big of a draw he's going to be here, but Doink the Clown is over. All right, so now what we can do is plug and play these matches. And that's what we're going to do for the rest of this tour. We're going to keep everybody against each other. And see, we got a problem here already. The Pit Bulls and the Road Warriors. Pit Bulls are in a feud with the Eliminators. We're going to change things up a little bit here, and I'm going to follow my gut on this one and do things right. Road Warriors are super expensive. There's no need to use them on tour. We'll use them for big events, stuff like that. So let's go with Jerry Lynn and the Sandman right there. Dreamer and Funk against Furnace and LaFon. So let's put Taz in the main event, beating somebody else besides Marty Genadi. And why don't we have Taz beat... That's where it gets confusing, everybody. We could have Taz beat... Tough decision here. This person's got to continuously lose to Taz here in the main event. So we don't want to bury anybody, but there are people that can take the losses and it won't affect them too much. You know what? Why don't we have Taz go over Terry Funk? That is a hot main event. Okay, so we can split up some of these tag matches And we will. So why don't we put Perry Saturn versus Pitbull number 1. You can actually drop this back one. Well, messed that up, didn't I? Perry Saturn versus Pitbull number 1. We can have John Cronus versus Pitbull number 2. All right. So for tag matches here, we can reuse Chair Swinging Freaks and the Dudleys, but not on this one. We're going to put it here. Got a main event tag match right here, so we don't need it there. We can put the big 6-man here in the semi-main. Okay, that'll work. We can do Doring and Roadkill against the BWO again over here. You know what? This 6-man, I'm thinking about it, everybody. I mean, this is how it goes. Booking is not easy. I got respect for these people that do it for a living. Trying to think who we can split up here. Do we want the tag belts on another show? And I'm going to say yes. And we can change up the opponents, I should say, for the second week. So for the tag title, we could have During a Roadkill. This is where it gets interesting, I'm telling you. The Gangsters. We'll have the Gangsters face Furnace and LaFon. All right. Okay, so this is coming together here. So we'll put Rob Van Dam on again, defending the TV title. Doesn't have to be in the main event. We'll have him face Jason Knight, since he's already got a little feud going with Credible. And again, we'll try not to bury Justin Credible here. Let's have Spike Dudley versus Justin Credible. Okay. Dick Dudley and Masato Tanaka works for me again. And let's take a look here. Who do we have against Mike Awesome? Stevie Richards and Mike Awesome. Yeah, I can put him in there. And when I've been doing these shows, I've actually been changing out the 8-minute match with the Mike Awesome matches. Okay, so we have Hot Commodity is out with the Gangsters now. So we could have Hot Commodity versus Tajiri and Whipwreck. Just to change things up. And then we could put do, boy, this is where it gets confusing, everybody. We want to have Bam Bam Bigelow's on there. Yes, he's a huge draw for us. Candido and the Prodigy we're going to use. We don't have to have a tag match. So we're going to pull the tag match here. All right, that's a good match to have right there. And we can do Bobby Duncombe Jr. is on his way out here. We could do Bobby Duncombe Jr. versus Lance Storm. And then we have Chetty and Cash that we can keep. Put that on the second match. We can do Little Guido versus Tracy Smothers, that feud that they've had going. Tracy Smothers is going to finish up here with us soon. And we could have Big Sal. We could have Tony Mamaluke and Super Crazy. Yeah. All right, so that's going to complete part 1 here. We're going to come back, and I'm going to show you how to do part 2. So that's going to do it for us, everybody, for this one. Yes, I know it's kind of boring, but some people ask and want to know about my booking style, and now you get to see it. So I will show you the rest and how we'll finish this up. So for those of you that are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and drop us a message below. Let us know you found the channel, what you think of us so far. For those of you looking for more, you can find it over on Patreon. Patreon.com/PowerCast Network. Over there, it's just $5. Will get you access to the 1987 Super Mod, all of our spreadsheets, and so much more. Check it out today, everybody. You'll get all your shows YouTube ad-free and early, and it's just a great deal over there, and it's dirt cheap with a lot of good stuff. Check us out on social media, facebook.com/groups/1987 Supermod. And don't forget, everybody, you can get a free membership to the Wrestling Fans International Association by heading on over to thewfia.org. Check it out today, everybody. It's free. We'll see you in a few more days with part 2 of this episode.